Hi, and good afternoon, and welcome to Thfc Till I Die, the home of Tottenham past to present. And we're just only a little short stream. Me and Philip are doing sort of a World Cup review. I've taken the matches so far, our hopes for the future matches coming up tonight, and also a bit of the latest news from Tottenham Hotspur, which Philip has got together, do with Man United now being put up for sale. Does that affect us? And other little bits and pieces. So, but first of all, Philip, how are you this evening, sir?
Yeah, very good, Dermot. Yeah, just after watching a bit goggle-eyed at the minute, watched two matches today, and neither of them were pretty. I say, word awful could be described. It could be used to describe both of them. Really, there was nothing much happening. Although I did spend the Uruguay Korea game keeping an eye on Bentancur and Son, and I think out of the two of them, Bentancur played the better. He was actually very good today. Son was on the periphery of the game most of the time, but at least they'll be happy with the draw, though. I think they'll be happy with the draw.
I mean, to be fair, me and Dave were doing the watch long to it, and it was that boring. Me and Dave started talking about everything bar the match. I mean, we went through some great topics, through to the state of Irish football, the corruption. Roy Keane, was he right to leave in 2002? Great World Cup size. Dave was going back players from the past. He was making some great points about players now not having the freedom to play football like they used to, like back in the day. I mean, look, it's something to go into. But look, what have you thought of the World Cup to begin with, Philip? I mean, what's your thoughts? There have been some good games. Australia, Canada should have won last night. Japan beating the Germans. We've got what else shocks was there? There's been a few shocks along the way. I mean, has it been a good World Cup for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, only for the shocks. Like, say Argentina had beaten Saudi Arabia and Germany had beaten Japan, it would have been a very bland opening to the World Cup. I mean, we've had 4 scoreless draws already, which is 3 more than there was in the entire Russia campaign 4 years ago. So I think those surprises have kept people's interest and perked people up and got people interested in the match, because in the World Cup, because I mean, let's face it, I don't think even the Saudi Arabians thought they were going to beat Argentina. I mean, that was, and funny, I had a sneaking fancy for Japan against Germany. I don't think that German team is going anywhere fast at the moment. And I wasn't surprised that they won, But I think the biggest surprise of the whole lot so far, the biggest disappointment was the performance of the Belgian team. I thought they were absolutely awesome against Canada and was so lucky to get a win. And I cannot, for the life of me, understand how Kevin De Bruyne got man of the match. There was 5 or 6 Canadian players streets ahead of him, and they didn't get a look in. I think even De Bruyne was embarrassed to get it because he knew he didn't play well, No. So it's interesting now. It's beginning to heat up a bit now. I'm really looking forward to Brazil-Serbia tonight. I think that's got the makings of a really, really good game. And again, I would not be surprised if there's a shock in store, because that Serbian team can do damage, especially with Mitrovic, with all the itches up front, all the itches they have in the team. They'll probably be dishing out the calamine lotion to the Brazil team before the match.
I was just thinking, Philip, imagine having a few drinks trying to say that team out pissed.
No, I feel sorry for the commentators today, trying to say all the Korean names, because it seems to be everybody in Korea is called Kim. I'd hate to be a postman out there.
Look, we'll just quickly go through the chat before we get into it. Look, we're now on Twitch. We're streaming live on Twitch. We've now got a Twitch account. I've done a couple of FIFA 23 streams on Twitch, which are now being transferred over to YouTube. So you can get us over there. I will put the link is actually on the YouTube channel. So we've got 3 followers over there. So get over there and give us a follow. And all your FIFA content and everything will be going up on there. And then I will be doing like highlights of the streams and then putting them onto YouTube. All the full stream will be downloaded and put to YouTube like we did the other day. So please get over to there. It's THFC TI Die, and that's where you'll find us over there. Big up to Carl Simpson. He says, "Hi James, hope you are well. We're doing grand, Carl. Thank you." He says, Carl Simpson, I spent the Uruguay and South Korean game trying to stay awake.
Lucky he wasn't watching the Cameroons and Switzerland. He would have been asleep for the second match. It was even worse.
We had a power cut this morning around here. We had awful weather down here this morning, and
Yes, I believe.
a tree apparently fell on the transformer, knocked the power out all from around River Chapel area. So, but we're back on now, thank God. So that's great. Big up, Carl. We've got Roy Park. Big up, fellas. Nice to see Sonny and Bentico on the pitch. Thank God they made it out of the match. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's true. And then we've got Carl Simpson saying, this one to you, Philip. Philip, he says, Belgium's golden generation is done. It's too old. Would you agree with that, Philip?
Absolutely. I mean, it was quite sad to watch them. I love Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. I think they were brilliant players, but I think it's time for them both to hang up their boots, international wise anyway, because they were just not. They were a different pace altogether to what the Canadians were throwing at them, and they were lucky to get away with it. And then there's some of the players in midfield. The age profile of that team is not good. I mean, even Kevin De Bruyne is approaching 30 now. So they're probably the best team not to really win anything in recent years. They've been knocking on the door. They've been the best team in Europe. But I'm afraid that there's talk about the manager getting his P45 at the end of this tournament. I'd say that's quite possible that he will, because I think they need fresh blood in that team, managerial wise and player wise.
I mean, he was saying last night, and you can remember this as well as I can, Philip, the Belgium of 86. I mean, they've eclipsed what they did in 86. They got fourth in 1986, that Belgium side.
Yeah.
But do you think they can't really say they've done better, because they haven't won anything with the players and the generational players they've had. They've really missed. It's like England's golden generation. They've missed the trick, haven't they?
Do you know who I compare them with? And this may seem a bit unfair. I compare them to the Tottenham team. Yeah. Playing brilliant football, but not winning anything. And, and that's the way they've been, and they've been unfortunate. But I do think the 86 team, I think Nico Klassen might have been playing in that. He came on to play for us.
And Schifo as well.
Schifo, Enzo Schifo, he played for Anderlecht in the 84 UEFA Cup final against us as well.
Right, he did, yeah.
So it'd be a pity to see a team like that maybe get not disgraced, but they've got to win. But I honestly think they're not going. They'll probably qualify out of the group, but the first fast-paced team in the round of 16, I think will do a job on them. So they'll make the most of it for the next couple of games, Belgium.
Yeah. We've got Dave Clark. Big up, Dave. It says hi from a very wet Leicester. Big up, crew, your crew. Big up, Dave. And please, David, get your comment in that you did for the fan show before the World Cup when we're doing the charity stream on Saturday.
Yes, we'll give it a good discussion.
We want to give that a good discussion. So if you can send it into the emails on the YouTube channel. I'll put Philip's email up there as well, and I will do tonight, and you can email either of us with what you got, and then we'll get it out, and we'll really give it a good go now, because there were some great points to think on there, wasn't there, Philip? Yeah,
there was actually. Yeah, I meant to get back to it on the night, but it just didn't work out the day he put it up initially. So it's one of the most intelligent comments I've seen. Really, really excellent stuff. So you need to have a look at that again.
Roy Parks, but after watching Spain absolutely demolish Costa Rica, other teams better wake up to the Spaniards. They have come to win.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to start that, Philip. Look, for me, they've improved from the European Championships for me. And I think they're a young side.
They're a great team.
They're dangerous.
I'll tell you one thing. If I was sitting in the German camp today, I'd be very, very worried about the next match against Spain. Because I think Spain, that German team, I cast doubt on whether they get out of the group before the thing started, and I stick to that. I think Spain are going to win that group and win it handily. And if they beat Germany, I don't think Germany will recover to get out of that group. And that's just the way it's going to be. And again, Germany, too many aging players in the team.
Look, for me, it's Germany's worst start to a World Cup. They've lost 2 games back to back in the group.
First time they've ever done that.
in their history. Look, this is not the German sides of past where you think they always have a way to get to a final. I mean, between 1982 to 1990, West Germany reached every final. So, look, I think Germany could go out the first round. I don't know who will go with Spain. But I think Spain are a team to watch. I really do, and I agree with you on that.
I had to laugh. Jürgen Klinsmann was on the BBC punditry team there, and they waited till near the end of the halftime interval before. Now, Jürgen, we have to ask you about the German match. And Jürgen, I think the teams are coming out now. He didn't want to talk about it.
And of course, he managed the German side to the third place, I think, in the World Cup, didn't he, when it was in Germany?
He's looking very well, actually. He looks like he nearly play for us still. So, a lot of time for Klinsmann now, but he's not. You got the feeling he wasn't impressed with what he saw yesterday.
No. We've got here. Dave Clark says Alderweireld and Vertonghen were great. And what about that Canadian team? If they had Kane, they would have won 3-0. I think so.
They would have won 6-0. They would have won 6-0. Missing the penalty, and apparently the guy that took the penalty wasn't a normal penalty taker. He just more or less took it on himself.
I heard that.
And so I tell you, he would have got a bollock in the dressing room at half time for that, because if they let the ordinary guy take it, they probably would have scored.
Yeah, I tell you also, Canada, only other appearance, of course, was 1986, and they never scored in their 3 games in the World Cup then, and they continued that into this World Cup.
They've got much talent in that team, They really have. But unfortunate, they're not going to qualify unless they start scoring goals. Although they could easily still qualify. If they get their act together.
They could do. The next game is against who they're playing next. Canada. They're playing Costa Rica. I think they're playing next. So there's a chance they get a few goals there and then get a point against Spain. Then I think they're through. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Philip. Dave Clark puts, don't agree. Costa Rica have been the worst team in the tournament. What do you say to that? Would you agree with them?
Well, based on the scoreline, 7-0, they're the worst. But I would say possibly Iran were probably as bad. Sorry, not Iran, Qatar.
Yeah,
I think that Qatar team is only there because the tournament has been played in their country. Not in a million years would they ever qualify for a World Cup held somewhere else. So I think there's a few lightweight teams in that competition. Costa Rica, I expected more from them, but okay, I don't think anybody could have lived with saying yesterday. I think any team would have struggled against that firepower that they have and the speed they play at. So let's wait until all the second matches are over, then we'll decide who the worst team is, because they've all just played one match so far. Well, nearly all. The last 2 matches were tonight.
We've got Roy Park saying here, if Germany lose, they are out. That's simple, isn't it? I think they're not going to come back from that. No, they won't. They will not. We've got Carl Simpson putting here, Germany won't get out of the group. They will lose to Spain. Yeah, I think so. I think they will. Philip, as like me, we've seen German team during the years always been there and thereabouts. You never write them off. What do you think is missing in this German side that doesn't give you the same feeling that you think, they could do it? But what's missing? Well,
I'll tell you one thing. One huge mistake the Germans made was leaving Tony Kroos out of the squad. That's a guy that, okay, I know he's getting on a bit, but he's experienced to beat the band, and he's the sort of player that you need. And you have to put in Mario Götze, the guy that plays for Frankfurt. He scored the winning goal in the World Cup about 15 years ago, as far as I can remember. A good while ago, anyway. So I just don't understand the team that they picked. Manuel Neuer, well, he's a great goalkeeper. He's no chicken either. Thomas Muller up front looks like he's been playing for the last 100 years, even though I think he's still only 30. So I think every team goes through a phase where the players are there. The management, Hansi Flick might not just be up to the job. Maybe he's just not able to get the best out of them. It's hard to tell, but I'll tell you one thing. I bet there's an awful lot of inquests going on in Germany today over what actually happened. There must be really killing. I know the German people do not like to be beaten. You know,
No.
mind you, they should get used to it with World War I and II. But anyway, you know, they don't like to be beaten in things like that, and they're a very, very dogmatic sort of clientele. So they will actually, I would expect Germany to be much better against Spain, but I think Spain will still be too good for them.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, look, you look at Franz Beckenbauer, got to his first World Cup in '86, lost the final, semi-final then against the Dutch in '88, and then, of course, won the World Cup in 1990.
Yeah.
Every German manager since then has won a trophy with Germany. I think this will be the first German manager.
Yeah.
I
think he could be in trouble. He could be in trouble.
Now, Philip? I'm not actually. I haven't got the game on, Philip. So, you just who's playing?
The next game is Portugal and Ghana.
Right. And what's the score there?
Oh, it hasn't started yet. They're still.
All right.
Ronaldo's still putting the Brill cream in his hair, so they haven't gone out in the pitch yet.
We'll get into the few of the talking points here you've put in here, and we'll start with this first one, Philip. Does the potential sale of Man United put pressure on ENIC to do likewise? Look, I just, my point in this, I don't think it will. And why? Because I don't think ENIC are not going to be bullied into doing anything that ENIC and Levy don't want to do. But I do feel Man United's protests have been better. They've been better organised. I mean, they've actually gone out and formed a different Man United football club as a protest to that.
I think maybe I should have worded that question slightly differently. It's not so much ENIC put pressure on ENIC to do likewise. My worry is with Liverpool, with the Fenway Group talking about selling Liverpool, right? Glazier's talking about getting rid of United. Okay, add that to the money bags of Man City, the Americanization of Chelsea, the butchers that own Newcastle United, right? That makes 5 teams owned by mega bucks, right? We don't try to compete with that, we're going to fall behind. Because that means that those top 5 are going to be the top 5 for forever and a day. So we need to do something. Either hope the Manchester United sale falls through. Let's face it. United under the Glazers is great for everybody else. They're going nowhere under the Glazers. Liverpool will be a bit different. Liverpool, they've been successful under Fenway, so I don't know why they're trying to sell them. You know, but I think we are really going to struggle. And I take your point. ENIC probably won't do anything. Now, what we need is the realization that we're going to be 6th best in a Premiership if we don't do something. Might increase the intensity and the ferocity of the protests against ENIC, and then hopefully someone like Jeff Bezos or anybody but Elon Musk. I don't want him coming anywhere near the club. Jeff Bezos from Amazon might come along and buy us and put us in there and make it a top 6. Make it basically be a breakaway league of 6 mega clubs. But we need to be one of those, or else we're going to be struggling with Arsenal to finish 5th or 6th, 6th or 7th.
Look, it comes to the point. I mean, I'm all on. I mean, last season, Philip, I was very much on Levy out, ENIC out. I want him out of my club. I want my club back, and I was on that bandwagon. This season, I've sat on the fence. I wanted to give them a chance. What they were going to do with CONTE. January is the biggest transfer window we've had in a long time. I see a report now. Maybe I'll keep this for the Spurs news later. But there's just reports in the paper that there's a bit of bluff and counter bluff going on between the club and CONTE over the contract. I'll cover that when we get to the point about Spurs news. Yeah,
keep them on tenterhooks, you know.
For me, I think that if they show any sort of ambition in the January transfer window, I think that will put a few fans' minds at ease.
Yeah.
But look, you can shout all you want, but I have to give credit where credit's due. Fair play to them Man United fans. And some of them haven't been to a game in years and stuck by the principles.
Well, I mean, if you've seen the television coverage of the Man United protests, and they are real protests. I mean, there's literally thousands of fans waiting outside the ground with the banners and the foghorns and talking about this and the other one. Like, now, with all due respect to the guys in the ENIC out brigade, Our protests are small in comparison and do not have the same effect. You know, I'm not knocking I think they're doing a great job trying to highlight the shortcomings of ENIC, but they're not being done on a scale big enough to really get the media to take notice. And I've seen news bulletins where there've been another protest at Manchester United. I've never seen that on the Tottenham match because the protests aren't big enough.
No, I mean they even went and made their own football club, Philip, for Christ's sake, as a protest against Man United. But there was a fan I heard the other day. He was on one of the channels. Somebody told me he hadn't been to a Man United game since the Glazers took over, and he was a season ticket holder for years and years and years. He gave up his season ticket in protest to the Glazers going back. He turned around and he says, "I cannot wait to get back to Old Trafford again."
I mean, the Glazers, that was the most ridiculous takeover in history. Now, they leveraged it. They didn't spend any of their own money on it. And yet they're taking millions a year in dividends out of the club. You know, it's a masterful piece of business, but who let them do it? Who actually let them away with it?
If you're trying to be a little bit, Philip, I think if you're trying to be if you're trying to put a spin in it, right? We got ENIC who for whatever reason we got our problems with our own, and then you've got the Glazers who have done what they've done at Man United. It sort of puts ENIC and Joe Lewis into a better light if you were to compare them against the likes of the Glazers at Manchester United. If you look at our stadium to Old Trafford, which is fallen to bits.
Yeah, exactly.
If you and as you say, you don't knock the Levy Out Brigade. They do their best, they do their bits, and I think as a fan base, we're not all there yet. I think that's the problem. I think as a fan base, we're very much a lot
of the fans are they're looking at the overall picture. They're saying we've got the best stadium in the world, tick. We've got one of the best managers in the world, tick. And that seems to decrease the need to protest. Like if we were sitting in a mausoleum like Old Trafford, which is about 50 years out of date, and we had a crap manager, which basically is what where United are at the moment, we will be an awful lot more vociferous and giving out more. But there's a bit of a comfort zone here. We've taken most of the boxes, and the only box that's not ticked is probably the most important one is the team.
Winning the trophy.
Maybe that will come in January. It needs to come in January, or else one of those other boxes will be gone on his bike.
Yeah. I mean, there is rumours going around that they want $5 billion for Man United, the Glazers. Now, nobody's going to pay $5 billion. There's a comment here by Tony Young saying we will want at least $3.5 billion. No one will pay that. Well, Chelsea went for what, $2.5 billion?
We are worth that. We are worth that with the stadium. If the stadium's included in the purchase price, $3.5 billion is not excessive.
No. Would you see that fella that was trying to buy Man United coming to us if we were put up for sale?
That's the English guy. What do you call him? Radcliffe, is it? Radcliffe. Well, I mean, let's face it. If he doesn't like the terms that he's getting with United, we're probably the next option. The next big club is going to be, well, not say available, possibly available. All he has to do is pick up the phone to Daniel Levy and say, Daniel, how much do you want for the club? And if Levy tells him to back off, he's not selling. That'll get. But if Levy shows any interest at all, and Joe Lewis's situation, as David Clark is saying there, is very, very crucial to this. I think he signed over his authority to his daughter or his lawyers or something.
No, for what I read into it, Philip, he doesn't own the club. It's owned by two lawyers in the Bahamas. Yeah. They own the controlling rights. He'll do what he says.
They're his parties, really, you know.
Look, what do we do, Philip? I mean, you look at Man City. They've got state-owned. They're state-owned, basically, aren't they? They're run by.
They're owned by Etihad Airways, basically.
Yeah. You look at Newcastle, who are state-owned.
But the Saudi Arabian regime,
Yeah. You look at Man United, who could be taken over by another, probably from Qatar or something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody from there. You look at Liverpool, could happen the same. Are we now going in a way?
Colin McGregor wants to buy Liverpool.
Who?
The guy, the MMF fight, the mixed martial arts fight from McGregor. He wants to buy Liverpool in his dreams.
He's a fucking idiot anyway.
I didn't like to say, but yeah, he is.
Yeah. I'm not backwards to come forward. Well, I think of him, Philip, he's an idiot. Look, are we going in the way of, like, we know the Chinese have people are being very interested in our club for years, and Levy's had people over there as guests of his in the boardroom and that.
And AIA are Chinese based as well. Yeah. Remember that?
Are we going in a way that we could be taken over by something like that instead of like an Amazon or a Nike or something like that? Are we now looking at state like Chinese and the Middle East? Are we looking at state ownership now for the future of people owning football clubs?
I hope it's not Chinese, because I mean, the Chinese record on human rights is even worse than the Saudi Arabians. So I would not be unhappy if it was a straight Chinese. I even saw on the press a few weeks ago somebody was calling out for Spurs to ditch their sponsorship of AIA because AIA are a Chinese company.
I think they're based.
You know, but this is the thing. Can you imagine the furore if we end up being bought by the Chinese government, basically? And I wouldn't be happy with that. I think a lot of fans wouldn't be. Like, okay, if we got bought, if somebody from Qatar bought us out, right? It'd be I know they're bad, right? But they're not as bad as the Chinese. So it's really becoming like a top 10 of who's the least offensive owner that you could have. You know, and the least offensive owner you could probably have from out there would be somebody, say, from maybe Dubai or Bahrain or someone like that hasn't really got a human rights issue or something or got baggage in that department. So, but then again, oil is running out. These guys are looking for other places to invest their money. So maybe it's a possibility after this World Cup that something will happen that way. But I don't know. I don't know. It's you could end up being offered £5 million and Levy could still say no, I'm not saying.
I've just got some breaking news here. The Glasgow Rangers are expected to request permission to speak to QPA head coach Mick Bale over the manager's job at Rangers. So that news is just actually broke.
I've never heard of him. So hopefully he does go to Rangers, because I'd be in the Celtic side of the fence.
Glasgow. Same here, Philip. Look, Philip. Look, as much as we've been critical of Qatar in the World Cup, and as much as about the human rights and the migrant workers and everything like this, Philip.
Yeah.
Do we just have to, when it comes to own these people coming in buying our clubs? Do you know, we had the Newcastle thing? Do us fans just sometimes just have to suck it up and say, look, they bought the club. There's nothing we can do as long as we get success in the. If Newcastle win a trophy this year, that all Newcastle fans will forget about human rights and about.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, very short memories. Yeah, very short memories. You're probably right, David. I mean, if Xi Jinping, whatever you call the guy that owns China, came along and bought Spurs in the morning, there's not a thing you, me, or 100,000 other fans are going to do about it, right? As you say, you quite rightly say they come in, they pay their money, they buy the players that we need, we win a trophy, everything is forgotten about, which is not the way it should be, but in human nature is the way it will be.
I mean,
and we'll be making excuses. Oh, well, maybe they're not as bad as we thought they were. Maybe, sure, you know, they'll improve now once they're involved with Spurs, you know. So, but let's face it, nobody that we really would like to have, with maybe a couple of exceptions, have got that sort of money. I still think Google or Amazon or someone, and even though a lot of people can't stand the way Jeff Bezos does his business, he won't allow unions. His rates of pay are very poor. So, like, everyone that's made that sort of money didn't get the money by being nice. They got the money by being ruthless, and they will continue to be ruthless if they take over Tottenham or any other club. Yeah. So, we just have to suck it up and take whatever comes, even though we mightn't like it.
I mean, it's like the man who Ford, Mr. Ford, the original man who made Ford, he didn't like unions either. And he was always against the unions back in the 1920s and the early in the 21st century. You know, he was always against unions and that. Look, I think I agree with Wilton McDonald. Pardon me, Wilton McDonald says, good afternoon, Dermot Philip. I'm back in the UK for Christmas time with family. We at Spurs must be careful what we wish for. And look, I'm very much on that, Philip. We have to be careful what we wish for. but also we are starving for success. So, you know, you're damned if you don't and damned if you do. Sometimes you just got to jump in the mud and get your hands dirty.
So I'm just putting the match on here in the background, Dermot. So just we'll be back to you in 1 sec. I just want to see it. We'll be back in 1 sec.
Look. For me, I've always said I'll give Enoch and leave it to next summer. I'm still going to stand by that. Doesn't mean I'm not happy how they've done my club. Doesn't mean I'm not happy what they've done for the last 21 years. But as long as Conte is manager, I will sit on the fence as long as Conte is in charge.
Yeah, but I think if Conte leaves, then we got trouble.
Yeah, I think so, and I think also Philip as well. Maybe as a club, we have to get down and dirty. If all the other teams around us are doing it, we cannot be left standing. But it's a case of
that's my biggest fear. My big fear.
Look, it doesn't matter. Look, we all want the best for our club, but it is going to get to a point, Philip, is we might get the next worst thing come along, and there's nothing we can do about it as fans.
It shows you really, and I'll say I'm using the word hypocrisy here in a jovial enough sort of a way. It just shows you the hypocrisy of football fans everywhere. But we give out about this, that, and the other when it doesn't concern us. But that per thing you're giving out about suddenly becomes involved in your club. Oh, they're great. They're brilliant.
It was great. It was what Graham Souness said the other night, Philip, about Qatar and the World Cup, and he was saying about other countries being hypocrites in their own way of looking at it. And I fair play to him. I give him all the credit in the world when he turned around to Roy Keane. He said, "It's like the British for what they did against the Irish." Yeah, and he is so true in what he's saying. Absolutely. Every country has its own human rights issues. We, as a nation, have suffered more than many over the years, over the decades, the hundreds of years. And look, we know the British suffered as well, the Americans, every other country. But you cannot, if you want something bad enough, I think the point I'm trying to make is everybody has a history. Everyone has skeletons in their stomach, in their cupboards.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it doesn't.
I'll go on.
Yeah, go on, Philip. No, go on.
No. I was just going to say something. I always think back to. I don't know if you've seen the movie Michael Collins.
Yes.
Which is about the end of English rule in Ireland. There's a very funny scene at the end. Whenever the day of the handover comes from British authorities to Michael Collins and the Irish government, Michael Collins turns up 45 minutes late for the handover. Yeah. The British brigadier is in his finery. He looks at his watch. Mr. Collins, you're late. You're 45 minutes late. And Michael Collins' reply was, "No, you kept us waiting 800 years for this, so 45 minutes doesn't mean a lot."
No, that's true. Really, yeah, I mean, look, Philip. Look, you can look. I could sit here, right, and say we went through the famine. Why we went? You know yourself. We've both learned everything through art schooling, and you look at other countries, but you look at Qatari. They were under. Other these countries, like in the Middle East, were owned by other European nations until recently.
Yeah. So
you look at it and you take a step back and you look at it from a outside in, and you're thinking, well, they're not complaining up in Newcastle because of the Saudi owners. There was that big Premier League haven't said it and done anything. Mm-hmm. The Premier League missed the trick. If they had done something then, I think owners coming in now would have been a bit more respectful, a bit more not as dirty.
It would have sent out a message that we don't want dirty money in the Premiership, and they've actually bottled it, as they bottled the Manchester City thing when they bottled the European ban. The history is endless of bottling it. Abramovich's money, that was dirty money, that was allowed in. They're not going to say a boo. They're not going to say boo to it, because they're probably going to be wined and dined and brought here, there, and everywhere. Got fancy gifts, Rolex watches, a whole lot. They're never, ever going to object to an owner. But someday they're going to make a mistake, and it's going to come back to haunt them. And
yeah, I mean,
Newcastle.
It's going to take like a big club going bust or going under for something to be done.
Well, I don't think with the money that's involved with these guys, I don't think going bust is ever going to be an issue. But what might happen is that there could be bribery, there could be corruption, there could be falsification of the financial fair play to hide their actual amounts that are being spent. You know, they can only spend so much in relation to your income and all this. That's where they need to start looking. Now, they had Manchester City over a barrel there, and they bottled it. So the next team that does it, they've got to make an example of it. And I guarantee you that next team will be Newcastle.
Yeah. Because Man City can put money through their accounts, through their Qatar, their airways, and it goes down to a non-existent sponsorship as well. You know, they show money in coming from a sponsor, but there's no sponsor. It's coming direct from Etihad Airways. You know. Yeah. But anyway, that's enough about that. Let's get back to the Spurs team. I tell you one thing that I really enjoyed that, and hopefully during the charity stream, Philip, we can get into more on that.
Oh yeah, we can expand on that. Yeah, exactly.
I was enjoying that conversation.
Comments coming here actually. David Clark makes a very good comment here.
About the Sudan.
About I remember. Like I lived in England in the early '60s, mid '60s, and when I was a kid. And at that stage, the British government was sending people to Australia for 10 quid assisted passage to Australia to get rid. Now that wasn't just orphans; that was families. The unemployment was pretty bad. And I remember some woman that used to work for my father. She was even immigrating the whole family to Australia, and they were getting there for a tenner each.
Yeah, look, you go back to. I watched a film called Black 47. It's all about the famine.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And it Yeah, I know. I did. I read that. I did. I know what that's.
Before you deleted it.
No, I did. So I thought, Carl, you did pick up on it. But look,
I'll move on. I won't embarrass anymore. Go on. Good afternoon, Nick. How you doing?
It's the point I'm making is an awful lot of people then went to America because it was for a better life and a better thing.
Yeah.
We as a nation, we're only a small country, and we as a small country have been moved through more hardship and more heartache as a country, than any other country in the world. Can you imagine seeing your children having to go to Australia or America just for a better life?
The sad thing about the famine was, as you know well, Dermot, that there was food being exported out of Dublin port every day of the week to England, while people 20 miles down the road were starving to death. I mean, Britain has a lot to answer for that famine. If that food had been reversed and sent the other way, then there wouldn't have been a famine. So this was anyway. That's another one for the charity stream, I think.
But if you also listen to the lyrics of The Fields of Athen Ryan, that is about the famine. That is about a man trying to steal money to feed his children.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Irish history is very interesting and very. I mean, you can go back to King James against King the French. I'm very sorry to hear that, Mick.
Nick sorry to hear that, Mick. It's never easy when a friend goes like that, so our condolences.
We send our condolences to you, Mick. And look, if you need anything, you can always reach out to myself, Philip, or Ellie, any of us, and we're there for you.
Yeah,
Dave Clark puts 8-year-old chimneys. We didn't go over to India just to get a cup of tea. No, you didn't know. And, look, it makes me laugh, Philip. We will go back to the football, but it makes me laugh, right? A man on a bicycle with a bounty on his head, right? Riding around Dublin on a bicycle, running a war, a guerrilla war, and they couldn't even get him.
Yeah, I think if anyone hasn't seen that film, Michael Collins, you should watch it. Okay, historically, it's slightly inaccurate, but most of the facts in it did happen. They mightn't just have happened the way they're portrayed on the screen, but it's an absolutely brilliant film, and Liam Neeson is superb as Michael Collins. But the only reason is nobody knew what he looked like. There was only one photograph of him in captivity, and the Brits didn't know who they were looking for. He was an amazing man.
I tell you, Brendan Gleeson did him in a film in the Treaty.
Yes.
And I thought Brendan Gleeson was as near to Michael Collins as Liam Neeson got different things.
No,
But,
he's very good. I love Brendan Gleeson. And another film plug, if you see that film that's out at the moment, The Banshees of Inisherin, go and see it. It's brilliant.
I tell you one thing, he done Donald Trump. I swear to God, he done Donald Trump to a T.
I actually haven't watched that because if me and Donald Trump, I feel physically sick every time I see him on TV. So I'm afraid I don't.
You've got to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. I wasn't well, so I was up in the bed there last year, and I had time to just watch the whole series. It was brilliant. Absolutely, I might watch it again soon. He is so funny. He gets into a T.
Brilliant actor.
But yeah, please, everyone watch Michael Collins. It's a brilliant film. I've watched it. Stephen Ray's in it. Julia Roberts is in it.
Julia Roberts is in it. She plays. She has the most ridiculous Irish accent you'll ever come across. But she acts very well. Until she opens her mouth, then you God.
There is one actress in it. Stephen Ray, who plays the fellow that helped. He became the first commissioner of the Gardaí in real life.
That's right. Yeah, in the film he dies, but in real life he doesn't, And I'll tell you who also makes it. John F. Kennedy's sister, who was I forget which one it was. Geraldine Kennedy, I think. She makes a brief appearance, a non-speaking appearance in it. So watch out for her as well. She's dead since, I think.
Yeah. But look, it's well worth it. And we will actually be going, that's something we'll be talking on Saturday as well on the stream, our best Irish films, and we'll be going over them. So The Commitments, The Van,
Butcher Boy. Anyway, The Butcher Boy is the best Irish film.
Yeah. I still reckon The Van, for me, is the most funniest film ever. The Van for me.
The Commitments as well. Roddy Doyle is brilliant. Absolutely.
The little fella trying to get an ice cream, and he says, "Do we sell ice cream?" No. It's so funny. The Commitments. That's a great soundtrack. The Commitments, by the way. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Philip, you said this question, and I've been racking my brains, but I haven't seen anything. But maybe you have. Okay, why do so many English fans dislike Harry Kane?
I think a lot of it, especially from the Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Man City fans, is down to jealousy. Because they think he should be playing for them, right? I think Harry disliked by Liverpool fans will accuse Harry Kane of diving, which from a team that has Mo Salah in it is quite laughable to accuse someone else of diving. I think they're also the fact Harry has a slight speech impediment. I think people make fun of that, which is terrible. But what maddens me is Harry Kane could score the winning goal in the World Cup final for England, right? And still people wouldn't like him. Whereas he should be a national hero if he does that. Yeah. And I think it's I don't think it affects him too much because Harry just goes and does what Harry does. I think if he was playing for Man United or Liverpool, he would be up on a pedestal. But the fact that he's loyal to his hometown club, it's the club that he's been with since he was a kid. Other people are jealous of that, and they just can't hack it, and they take it out. I mean, to see him criticise that after Monday's performance when he made 2 of the goals, come on, joke.
Look, for me, it's jealousy. I think every team in the Premier League would love to have Harry Kane. He plays for us. He is loyal to us, as much as a lot of people not say he isn't. He is. I think he will finish his career with us anyway. I don't see him going anywhere.
But he's 2 goals away from equaling Wayne Rooney's scoring record for England. He could easily exceed it during this World Cup. And what's he going to get from that? When he should be getting applause from everybody, he's going, how many penalties did he score? That'd be the first thing he'll be put up. How many penalties?
Can I say the same thing as well? Gary Lineker never got the respect he deserved when he played for us, when he was England, when he played for England. Paul Gascoigne again.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. What do we ever do to offend people? I don't know.
I think existing. I think the club existing. I think that's probably it.
Again, they're jealous of Tottenham again because we've got the best stadium in the country, in the world, probably. We've probably got the best manager.
How's the homeless hobo playing? Is he starting? Is he the homeless hobo?
Not really. It's no score. 19 minutes gone. I haven't really seen. I haven't really been concentrating on it, but it doesn't seem to be much happening from what I can see. Ghana has very colourful fans there.
Yeah, what do you think of him being sacked by Man United? Do you think it was on the cards, Philip? Do you think it was?
Oh yeah. The minute he made that interview with Piers Morgan, let's face it. I mean, why did he go to such a bollocks like Piers Morgan? That's all Piers Morgan is, an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
No, he might have got away with it if he'd gone to someone with a serious interviewing technique. You know, the likes of I don't know who does the interviewing these days. It used to be David Frost in the old days.
Yeah.
But the fact that he went to Piers Morgan, I mean, that made a joke of it from the start. But the way he went out and criticised the manager and the owners of the he was very complimentary about the fans. He kept the fans on side. The minute he said that was him finished. There was no going back. He would never ever pull on the shirt again. And the fact that he's agreed to leave United without a severance payment shows you that he did that on purpose. He knew he wasn't getting any money out of United once he said that. Because they could have sued they could have sued Ronaldo for what he said. Now they just more or less called it a night and away you go.
It's like if Harry Kane did that last summer when Nuno was there. If he had that bit of an interview with Gary Neville, but if he'd done the same thing, it's like it shows Harry Kane's got more respect for Tottenham than Ronaldo has for Man United, and you have to think you had after
Ronaldo's ego is massive, right? Ronaldo, I mean, he's on £500,000 a week, and yet he refused his manager's request to come on as a sub against us.
Yeah,
that is the ultimate disrespect. Ronaldo doesn't respect anybody but Ronaldo.
No.
Okay, he likes the Man United fans, which is a general way of keeping them in on his side. And the fact that he's tapped into the fans that want Glazer out by criticising the Glazer regime, So he was cute enough to keep the people he wanted to keep on side, but alienated the people that he wanted to get a dig at, and he's done that, and now he's gone.
Look, I think people need to. I think people need to respect Harry Kane more than what they do. He's a family man. He's never in the paper.
He's an absolute role model. He's a role model, and should be treated as such. He's not He's not like Gaza or Teddy Sheringham or any of them boys seen coming out of a pub half cut at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's got his own charitable foundation now to raise money for suitable causes. He's I mean, I'll tell you one thing: if Harry Kane was dating my daughter, I'd welcome him in as a son-in-law any day of the week. Whereas if Paul Gascoigne came, I'd say, get out the fuck, I'm not marrying my daughter. So that's exactly. He's an absolute role model.
Yeah. Look, for me, Ronaldo's just a money-grabbing son of a gun. I think he's too big for his own boots. I think him going to Brendan, what's his name? Piers Morgan was unreal. I don't know why he did, but look, Jesus, it's ridiculous. But Harry Kane should be saluted more by the English fans, and I think the fans that don't like him, I think it's just hypocritical in a lot of ways.
The fact that Harry is a huge Arsenal fan has nothing to do with my feelings about it.
No, not me either. No, never thought of that. Never thought of that. We've got a few comments here. We've got this one here. We've got this one here for David Clark. I've been watching two great Irish comedians, Tommy Tiernan and Brendan Grace. You need to also watch Dave Allen. I remember Dave Allen from my childhood. It's brilliant. You need to watch the one when he talks about Adam and Eve. For me, it's the most funniest bit of joke I've ever heard in my life.
There's a lot of it on YouTube. Loads of it on YouTube.
Yeah, there is. And also, there's another fella called Pat Short, who's a comedian.
Oh, no, Pat Short.
He does a school teacher. I don't know if you've seen that one, Philip. It's the most
funniest. I've been. He was in a duo with John Kenny called Unbelievable. It was about 20 years ago. And you daren't get up. If you're at one of his shows, you daren't get up and go to the toilet. He'd follow you down there. And he'd be making up this diet. Where are you going? I didn't give him permission to go to the toilet. And he'd absolutely make a show of you. But he was brilliant. And he's actually in that film, The Banshees of Inisherin. He plays the barman. Yeah, so it's and John Short is in it. John Kenny's in it as well. But this is also unbelievable. Now it's very stage Irish, a lot of it, but it's so funny. It really is.
It is. We've got Roy Park saying here, good news that at least seems to have respect for his England teammates. Very underrated. Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah. Although there was a thing, our good friend Tony Adams came out within the paper during the week and said that Harry Kane should not be captain of England anymore, that Declan Rice should be captain. And the reason being, just in case Harry Kane has a bad game. Now, the same Declan Rice had to look up the team sheet on Monday to see if he was even on the bloody pitch. You know, and there you have our beloved neighbour's ex-manager coming out and saying that the best captain England have had in years should be ditched and replaced by a turncoat who should be playing for Ireland at the moment.
Oh, don't get me started on him. Do not get me started on that fucker. Pairing them, him and Jack Grealish, singing the English national anthem. Fucking turncoats. Fucking Judas, the pair of them. Right. Breaking news, Carl Simpson says. Tottenham have renamed the trophy room to the room.
Only temporarily, though. Only temporarily.
Yeah. They will be changed. We've got Roy Park here saying, what's he saying now? He's saying, apparently he heard that Ronaldo will be joining the Saudi Arabia team. They'll stroke his ego to his satisfaction.
Yeah, and they'll probably pay him £1 million a week.
Yeah.
They will, yeah. Well, that's where he's going. That's where he needs to go. Like at 37, he's not going to be competitive enough for the major leagues anymore.
No,
so
he's not.
It's well to go for one big last payday in a sort of a practice league like the Saudi Arabian league.
Even if he did want to win the Champions League again, he's not going to do it. We've got David Clark. No, it's been renamed the Tory Room because it has an empty game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Coming out now. That's a good joke.
Oh, yeah.
David Clark says Dave Allen learning these kids how to tell the time. Oh, that's hilarious funny when he's trying to tell the kids. And then Carl Simpson says, love it. Love it, David. Yeah, absolutely funny. Right, before we go on to the next subject, Philip, we got a charity stream on Saturday, and I've done a sort of a special intro for it. Now, I've done it to Philip, and I've showed it to Thing. I'm actually going to make its debut. It's only a little while, but there's the question to it. Can you name the singer that this intro was used for? If somebody gets it, I'll be very surprised. So I'm going to play it. It's only 1 minute and 36 minutes long, and then we'll go back to the final thing. But the question is here, can you name the singer? Right, that's the tune. The question is, can you name the artist that used that as an intro? So you can when we play it again on Saturday during the charity stream, that is the question. If you can name the first person to get it right, will get a gift from me or get a gift from the channel. We'll get something from us as a little early Christmas present. So the thing is, can you name the artist that used that as an intro? I know who it is. I think Philip might know who it is. I have told Ellie, but I don't know if Ellie will know who it is. But there is a famous artist that used that as an intro in the 70s. So let us know. Let me know in the comments now and between Saturday who it is. You've got to actually to 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon to get the answer. The right answer will get a World Cup. We'll get the history of the World Cup as a prize. It's a lovely book I'm putting up for auction, but I'm going to give it to somebody for a Christmas present. It's about the whole history of the World Cup, and whoever gets the right answer will.
I don't think it was Christopher again.
I'm not laughing at that one. I was more laughing at that one.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Stick.
Christopher, him. He's still singing about the lady in red he cheated on his wife with, apparently. So we won't stop there.
Christy Berg.
Yeah, Christy Berg, yeah. Honestly. But yeah, whoever gets that right we'll get that book as a prize. So there you go. So we'll get into that then on Saturday. But Philip, we've got the charity stream Saturday. We've got lots of things coming up. It's going to be a good stream. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be very good. It'll be very interesting. Yeah. And
we're going to do
matches as well. That'll be on, you know.
Yeah, we're going to do the watch along to the French-Denmark game as well during the stream.
Yeah. Interesting thing, Ronaldo just put the ball in the net for Portugal, but it's been disallowed for the merest of pushes. Now I'm telling you, it's talking about a finger off job by Ronaldo. So I have to feel sorry for him there. He looks like he's been hard done by.
Oh, bless him, the homeless hobo. Oh, bless him, my heart bleeds for him. But anyway, you talking about FIFA and the World Cup brings us on nicely to our last little question now. Now, Philip, I don't know if I should hide under the table or just run away to the hills now. But anyway, who is running the World Cup, Philip? Is it FIFA or the Qatari authorities?
Well, I don't think it's FIFA. But if they are running it, what they're doing is they've been dictated to by the Qatari authorities and passing the question on to the teams or the countries involved. Because so far, what we've had the badge or the armband thing, where they were told that anybody wearing it. And did you see at the Germany game yesterday, the linesman went up to Manuel Neuer before the game and checked the armband that he had on, because the rumor was Neuer was still going to wear the LGBTQ armband, which he didn't. But I'd love to know what the reaction would have been if he had been wearing it. Would it have been a booking? It would have been a fine for the German authority. So, you know, that was tricky. That was a bad one. Then you had before that, then you had the banning of the Budweiser beer. I mean, they announced that 2 days before the start of the tournament. You can be sure that decision was made months ago to do that, because they weren't just going to leave it that late. Again, that's one thing FIFA said they'd done as in conjunction with the Qatari authorities. Bullshit. The Qatari royal family just told Infantino, who, as Carl Simpson said, Infantino moved out to Qatar to live in it 12 months ago. Now, you can be sure he's paying no rent for the house that he's in. His daughters are in very, very posh private schools out there. You can guess who's paying the school fees there. But I mean, Infantino, by moving to Qatar, basically put himself in their pocket. Anything they want, he will do, because he's scared of the retributions. They might ask him to stop paying rent on the house or something. So it's an absolute joke. Actually, we thought Sepp Blatter was bad. Blatter at least admitted up, more or less half admitted to what he did by making a mistake by giving the cup to Qatar. Infantino is just playing into their hands completely, and the FIFA authority and the FIFA board is powerless now, because whatever Qatar wants, Qatar gets. You know, it's just an absolute joke to give it to a country half the size of Wales with no infrastructure, no nothing. Apparently, when the votes were taken back in 2010, they each country was given a sheet to tick off the boxes that were required, and apparently Qatar could tick barely any of them. Like the USA, Britain, Australia, whoever else, ticked every box for tournaments, rail structure, rail transport links, everything. Qatar had none of it. They had one stadium. They've now built 8 stadiums, some of which have been demolished after the tournament's over, at the loss of how many thousand of immigrant workers? Yeah. We'll take up responsibility for those people. No one's taking up FIFA passing it on to Qatar, passing it back to FIFA. It's like a game of tennis, over and back, over and back. Nothing will happen. Those poor sods. Now, I remember being in Dubai. It must be 20 years ago, when Dubai was being built up, like the way Qatar is now. And I remember out for a walk one night, and all I could see was there was a crowd of about 20 or 30 fellas looking into a shop window. I couldn't figure out what it was. So I went over to look at it. Apparently, India were playing in the World Cup cricket at the time, and there was the Indian sub-workers. They didn't have a TV between them, so they had to come out and look at a shop window to see how the cricket was going. I thought that was absolutely dreadful, you know, and that continued now into Qatar. And I'm sorry, no matter who wins this World Cup, it's always going to be tainted by the blood of those poor sods that died building the stadiums, and tainted by the money that Blatter and his like took to give the tournament to a country that deserves it no more than Russia did the last time, which they took money for that as well. Yeah. So end of the rant.
I said it on the stream when we did the FIFA. It's like giving it to countries that it's like giving it to Russia now, what they're doing in Ukraine. It's like giving it to Israel, what's happening with the Palestinians. It's like giving
it's a wonder they haven't given it to China, because they're about the only ones left, only authoritarian state left that haven't had it.
It's like giving it to China what they do in their country, and the concentration camps apparently they have there, and they want to invade Taiwan and all this. Look,
yeah, that's right.
It should be kept to football nations that have football infrastructure, the likes of America, Europe, South America. So it should be kept between them. Australia deserves to have a World Cup.
Exactly, yeah, of course it does.
You could do Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
They were given 12 years to get this World Cup ready.
Yeah.
More than any other nation in the history of the World Cup. 12 years. And I think, look, I think Qatari are running the World Cup. I don't think FIFA are saying anything. And it said it all when the FIFA president turns around and he said what he said the day before the World Cup. What he came up with was the biggest load of gobbledygook I have ever heard in my life.
And to carry that on, do you see the latest thing? You know, like some of the British fans, the English fans, they turn up with the Crusade outfits on, with the big red cross on the front and the helmets and the chain. The Qatari authorities are banning those uniforms from matches because apparently it's because back in the 10th century, 11th century, the Crusaders didn't treat the Arabs very well, and it's a disrespect to Arab culture to have Crusade uniforms in an Arab country. What next? They already wouldn't admit an American journalist into the match because he had a Pride T-shirt on him.
Well, there was a woman. I read this the other day. This Argentinian TV reporter was robbed. She went to the police.
Yeah.
And the police said to her, "What do you want? What do you want us to do with him?"
Yeah, 5 years in jail or deported.
Yeah, that's unreal. David Clark, not Chuck Berry, but you're sort of around the right sort of era. Vintage. How can I put? He. Everyone thought he was like Chuck Berry, but he wasn't. That's all I'm going to say. So, if everyone, without coming across wrong, but look, Philip, how's the homeless hobo in Portugal getting on? Are they winning?
It's 38 minutes gone, and there's still no score. And I'm looking at the pitch, the ground. Oh, yes, another thing too. The Qataris are absolutely brilliant in maths. They can actually fit 67,000 people into a stadium that only holds 60,000, and there's still thousands of empty seats.
Oh, that's so funny. I watched that on the BBC the other night, and she said, the stadium's 10,000 over, 10,000 more than what it's
I'm surprised they haven't put cardboard cutouts in the seats because it looks so blatant, you know. One interesting thing too, there's a BBC did a very interesting thing at lunchtime today, there before the Korean match, from a town called New Malden in England, and it's where the Koreans all go to live in England.
Yeah.
And Heung-min Son is the absolute god. There's cutouts of him in every shop there is. But one of the guys came on and said there's actually a TV channel in Korea that does nothing but show Heung-min Son highlights.
That's a good.
Can you imagine? That's 24/7 showing Heung-min Son goals and highlights and interviews with him. He's an absolute superstar out there.
Yeah. Well, don't be telling Dave Harris that he might want one for Harry Kane. You know, he might want RTE to do RTE treat just on Harry Kane. Oh, we could get him, or we could get him the Stephen Kenny highlights. You know, of Ireland over the last few years.
What would they do? Another 23 hours, 59 minutes, damn it.
Yeah. Oh look! Well, listen. At least we're going to watch the World Champions next year and the Dutch as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to that now. Yes,
apparently, we went to the Ireland match. Apparently, the fan next to me, Philip, said Kenny will get us out of that group. I looked at him and said, "Have you been drinking?" I mean,
There's more chance of winning the World Cup than us getting out of that group. But anyway, not to worry.
And for the whole match, I was shouting at Doherty. I was shouting at him, take off his gloves, go over the halfway line. One point, he did look round after I did shout at him, "You're fucking useless." He went, "You're looking around. Who said that?" And I tried to start the Kenny out chant, and I was in the wrong stand for that. Everyone was just looking at me going, "What do you mean Kenny out? No, we want Kenny in." Oh, yeah, fucking gobshots. Anyway, well, listen, that's the end of the show. Listen, it was only a short show today anyway. But we are back on Saturday at 12 o'clock with the big one. So please, everyone, do come see us. We're on for 12 hours, between 12 midday to midnight. We've got guests coming on. We're going to have discussions, football-related discussions, non-football related discussions. We're going to really fill it in.
No subject left unturned.
No, there won't be. And we're going to have the quiz. We're going to discuss our all-time Spurs 11. Me, Philip, and Ellie. We're going to have a bit of a fan show. People coming on, having their say about the World Cup. We're going to do the France-Denmark watch along, and then sort of every hour we'll have an update on how much we've raised. The link for the GoFundMe is on the YouTube channel as well. We've raised €135 so far, so we're really over the moon with that. And then once after the stream, I think the week later, we will be getting somebody coming on from the charity, and we will be giving the money to them live on there too. So that's what we're going to do with that. But listen, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Philip, again for giving me your time. It's wonderful to do a stream with you. I always love listening to you and have the crack with you. It's always goes into. We always go into some places that we don't really want to go into, but we always end up going in there too. But I love it anyway. And at least my internet worked this time, not like Sunday where
mine too.
I was in a different time. I would think I was in a different century on Sunday, and that's for poor old Dave. I was on his channel earlier, and I was about 3 minutes behind him all the way through. I think I caught up in the end, and I felt really guilty. So again, Dave, if you're watching, I apologize. I fixed my camera because I didn't press the right button. I'm such a dummy. So I apologize, Dave, but really enjoyed the stream. We talked about everything about football, past and present. Philip's going to go and watch the Homeless Hobo, see what he does. I'm going to go and cook spaghetti bolognese. Please get in your answers to where did that music go to. Now, I will play it again to finish off the stream. And then let us know Saturday. Whoever wins will get a FIFA World Cup. The history of the World Cup will be sent to you. Whose intro was this song? But till we see you on Saturday, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content from me, Philip, and Queen Ellie as well. And we'll see you on Saturday. God bless you all. Take care. And please, who's in?